The province has pushed rapid tests to many healthcare sites over the past 2 weeks. Those tests will be used differently in a variety of settings. And joining us to talk more about this is Michelle Hoad, CEO of the Medical Laboratory Professionals Association of Ontario. Michelle, good to see you again.
Hi, Lena. How are you?
I'm doing well. Good to chat with you. Let's begin with rapid testing. We've talked about the government pushing these tests to several healthcare sites over the past few weeks. What are your observations thus far?
So we've been receiving some feedback from those in the labs that are currently validating and actually just checking to see how these tests function. And there's a concern that's been shared around the accuracy and reliability. So now that they are live and they are being used, we just need to caution everybody to understand that this is just one tool that is used, but if you test positive, you will still get a regular PCR test.
So you say there are concerns about accuracy, reliability. Can you be specific? What does that mean for someone who's interested in getting a rapid test?
That you need enough viral load in your body in order for it to show up on these rapid tests. So unfortunately, if you carry just a little bit of the virus, it may not get detected. That's really important, especially if you've got no symptoms, you potentially could be carrying the virus, but it's not going to quite show up yet because you don't have enough of it.
I want to talk about contamination because that could be a concern. What does the collection process look like for these rapid tests?
So what we've discovered is that one of the tests doesn't have what we call a buffer that actually deactivates the virus. So the MLPAO test, we've discovered when you actually open the tube up, that virus is live. So if you're in a lab, there's actually a place you go and you actually put that tube in a safe area that's got a HEPA filter to make sure that you're not spreading the virus. The concern with the MLPAO test right now is if you are in an airport, if you're in a long-term care home and you're in a room with multiple people, if you open that test up and it's positive, you've got to be careful that you're not contaminating, number one, the person who's doing the test and anybody else in the room. So again, another cautionary story. We're saying you need to be careful with these tests right now.
What difference is this making when it comes to Ontario's labs? Is this sort of helping?
It's a really interesting question. So right now we have found a lot of our rural remote communities, some of these tests actually, the machines are residing in the lab. So therefore the work from a medical lab technologist perspective and a lab assistant really hasn't changed. So they're actually, these tests will go into the lab and get processed. Very different in our urban areas, especially in our long-term care homes, potentially some emergency departments. It will most likely happen right at the bedside. So I think all our healthcare groups right now are getting affected. It's just additional work. But again, it's a tool that's going to help us.
Okay, I'm interested in getting your thoughts on this. As you know, the Auditor General releasing a scathing report last week accusing the province's top doctor of not fully exercising his powers, also accusing the Ford government of a really slow response to the first wave of COVID-19. What do you make of this?
I had the pleasure of reading the entire report on Tuesday, and I think one of my perfect line is, she is not wrong. Unfortunately, the issues are really around lab capacity because the report goes into great length around opportunities for shortage of people, shortage of instruments. That has been a consistent message in every Auditor General report from 2003. So she is 100% correct. I think, though, we might need to just pause and understand that the current government inherited the problem. So they've had to fix it during the pandemic. The question I would have is, we've had many governments in for the last 15 years and nothing was done. So it's really hard right now because from a lab perspective, we have felt unappreciated, underfunded for over 15 years. And it's finally a report now that's coming to light, although everyone in the lab is sitting there saying, we've been saying this for 15 years.
You say you've been saying this for 15 years. A lot of people are feeling underappreciated, overworked. Are you hoping there are some lessons that we can take with us as we deal with this second wave of the virus?
Absolutely. I think what the government's trying to do now is look at rapid testing, increasing capacity, understand what the human health resource issues are. It's not a quick solution for sure. It's not a solution that we're going to fix in the next 6 months. But I think if we keep working towards the recommendations that the Auditor General made, we can really start to prepare for the next pandemic, which we know will happen in our lifetime.
Okay, Michelle, as always, we appreciate your insight. Thanks so much.
Have a good day.
You too.